So it's Monday the 21st of July, which means the Booktube-A-Thon is officially over. And the underhyped Readathon has officially begun. So I thought I would merge these two videos together, tell you what I read during the Booktube-A-Thon, and then tell you what I'm going to read during the next week during the underhyped Readathon. So I think first things first, it would be best to start with the books that I finished during the Booktube-A-Thon. The first book that I finished I'd already started, and that was Robin Hobb's City of Dragons. I was already on about 300 and something of this book, and it was 425 pages long. This is the third in the Rainworld Chronicles by Robin Hobb, and I've reviewed the first one, so I'll link that below. This was probably my least favourite so far. There's only 4 in the series, but least favourite doesn't mean that I didn't really enjoy it, because I absolutely love this series. I probably just didn't like it as much as the other ones because it just felt like an in-between book. There wasn't enough of an independent plot to this one, so nothing was really fulfilled to me, although there was some really good turns in the story that I did enjoy. Anyway, if you're into high fantasy, I cannot recommend this series more. Then the books I read cover to cover. The first one was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I will be filming and uploading a review of this one very soon, so look out for that, but you've probably heard a lot about it already on Booktube. I was sent this as a free copy by the Book People, and I must admit I was a little bit fearful after all the hype that it's received on Booktube, but I actually really enjoyed it. I welled up by the end. It was a very dramatic ending and quite heart-wrenching. This is a mystery book about a rich family that visit their private island every summer, and one summer something dramatic, tragic happens that you and the main character are unsure of. So basically the entire book is just the unravelling of this mystery, so I won't tell you anymore. If you do want to hear more of my thoughts, then just look out for the review, which will be spoiler free, I promise. The next one I read cover to cover was Sally Heathcote, Suffragette by Mary M. Talbot and Brian Talbot, and illustrated by Kate Charlesworth. I have already filmed the review of this and it'll be up this week. I loved this novel. It was a non-fiction graphic novel following the suffrage movement in Britain at the beginning of the 20th century through the experiences of one suffragette, and that is Sally Heathcote. This was the most beautifully illustrated graphic novel as well, so if you love good art and are interested in 20th century political women's history, then please check this out. Finally, the last book that I read cover to cover was Say Her Name by James Dawson. This was a young adult horror novel retelling the Bloody Mary scary story from the perspective of a 16-year-old girl at boarding school in the UK. Again, I received this as a free copy from Hotkey Publishing, and I will be doing a review on this one as well. For now, all I will say is that it just really reminded me of a Scream movie, so if you enjoyed the Scream movies, then you probably enjoy this. I have been reading a few other things during the Booktube-A-Thon, but haven't managed to finish anything else, so I'll let you know what I have been reading. I kept reading Courtsans and Fish Cakes by James Davidson. This is a non-fiction book about the passions and everyday life of Athenian citizen. I'm still only on page 50 of this book, but I am really enjoying it. I just started to lag by the time the weekend came around and couldn't commit to one book, so I've been flitting back and forth, but page 50 and I'm continuing on with this. Unfortunately, I made the most pathetic progress in The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I am only on page 45 of this book. I am enjoying it. It's really well written. It really reminds me of Sherlock Holmes, just slightly more long-winded, but I just don't think I was in the right headspace by the time I got around to reading this. So I definitely will finish this at some point, probably in the next month, but just didn't manage this week. Like I said, I was finding it difficult to commit to one book, so I did end up picking up the 4th book in the Rainworld Chronicles by Robin Hobb, Blood of Dragons, and I'm on page 69. Another one that I have made limited progress in but have started, which is kind of annoying, but still added to my page count. This is getting embarrassing. I also picked up The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells and made it to page 37 out of 150, so I've actually not got that much left to read in this one. And last but not least, I started Lock and Key, the graphic novel series, volume 4. I was actually going to try and finish this before the Booktube-A-Thon ended, and I got halfway through by 10 o'clock last night, but then I was just so tired that I fell asleep. So I didn't quite manage to finish that. It did add another 79 pages to my word count. All in all, I did hit just over 1,000 pages, which was my secret personal goal, was to read 1,000 pages, so I'm pretty happy. And to be honest, I wouldn't usually finish 4 books in a week, so I'm pretty happy with that as well. I hope you're all proud of yourselves for the past week, and if you didn't manage to join in on the Booktube-A-Thon or get as much reading as you hoped done, maybe you can take part in the Underhyped Readathon, which has started today. This Readathon was started by the very lovely Charlotte, whose YouTube channel I will link below, and you can go and check out more details about the readathon. But essentially you're just to read books throughout this week that have under 5,000 ratings on Goodreads. That makes it an underhyped read. Unfortunately, a lot of the books that I started but didn't finish during the Booktube-A-Thon don't count as underhyped reads, so I am not committing myself to those for this week. The first book I plan on reading is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. This is the first in a series about a female dragon scholar. I'm excited to delve into this because, as you know, I love dragons. I then plan on reading The Magician by W. Somerset Maugham. I picked this up because Leslie from Words of a Reader mentioned it a few times and made it sound very good. It's a 19th century Gothic mystery, which sounds right up my street. And whilst we're on the 19th century, I also plan on reading The Madness by Alison Rattle. This is another book I was sent by Hotkey Publishing. From what I gather, it is about a young woman's relationship with a young man that goes slightly awry, and I believe madness ensues. Then the last book I plan on starting is Valerius Flaccus's The Argonautica. This is another retelling of the Jason and the Golden Fleece, or Jason and the Argonauts myth from antiquity. This is a Latin version, obviously written by Valerius Flaccus, and you know my love for Apollonius of Rhodes's Hellenistic Greek version of the myth, so I'm really excited to read somebody else's version. And as it also has under 5,000 ratings on Goodreads, I'm going to keep reading Courtsans and Fish Cakes by James Davidson and hopefully make a good dent in this one this week. Anyway, look out for reviews of the books I mentioned that I'm going to review in this video, and let me know if you're taking part in the Underhyped Readathon and what books you're reading, because that would be particularly interesting because I may not have heard of them. And in the meantime, happy reading. Bye guys! And in the